Picture this. It's 3 a.m. and you're lying awake, staring at the ceiling. Your mind races with regrets about the day that just ended and anxiety about tomorrow's challenges. You think about the promises you made to yourself, to exercise, to eat better, to stop procrastinating, to finally pursue that dream, and how you've broken them. Again, you're not alone in this darkness. Every single person watching this video has felt the crushing weight of their own lack of self-discipline. That moment when you choose the easier path, when comfort wins over growth, when your future self gets sacrificed for temporary pleasure. It's that hollow feeling in your chest when you realize you've betrayed yourself once more. But here's what Marcus Aurelius understood 2,000 years ago, lying in his tent on the Germanic frontier. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Roman emperor, the most powerful man in the world, struggled with the same human weaknesses you face today. Yet he discovered something that transformed not just his life, but the lives of millions who followed his wisdom. Tonight, we're going to walk through the 9 Stoic principles that will rebuild your relationship with yourself. These aren't just philosophical concepts. They're battle-tested strategies from a man who faced plagues, wars, and betrayals, while maintaining unshakable discipline. As you watch this video, you might recognize parts of your own story. The late-night promises, the morning disappointments, the cycle of trying and failing. But here's the beautiful truth. Every moment of struggle has been preparing you for this transformation. Your pain isn't a sign of weakness. It's proof that you care enough to change. Each principle we'll explore tonight will feel like a key turning in a lock you didn't even know existed. You'll experience moments of recognition where pieces of your scattered self-discipline puzzle suddenly click into place. By the end of this journey, you won't just understand discipline, you'll embody it. Before we begin this transformation together, I need you to do something. Hit that like button if you're ready to stop making excuses. Drop a comment sharing what discipline means to you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to this channel because your future self deserves this commitment. And whatever you do, don't skip any part of this video. Your breakthrough might be hidden in the section you're tempted to skip. Now, let's go. Remember that panic you felt when you checked your bank account last month, or the rage that consumed you when someone cut you off in traffic? That energy, that precious mental and emotional currency, was spent on things completely outside your influence. Marcus Aurelius faced this reality daily. Imagine being responsible for an empire while plague ravaged your people and enemies threatened your borders. Yet he wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." He understood that discipline begins with radical acceptance of what lies beyond our control. Your childhood trauma, your genetic predispositions, other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, these are not your battlegrounds. When you waste energy fighting these unchangeable forces, you drain the very power you need for transformation. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom. Think about your last major disappointment. How much time did you spend replaying scenarios, wishing things were different, or blaming external circumstances? That wasn't processing. That was self-torture. Every minute spent in that mental prison was a minute stolen from building the life you actually want. But here's the liberating truth. When you truly accept what you cannot control, you discover what you can. Your thoughts, your responses, your daily choices, your effort, these remain yours completely. This shift from external to internal focus is where real discipline is born. Psychology calls this having an internal locus of control, and research shows it's one of the strongest predictors of success and happiness. When you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the author of your responses, everything changes. Tonight, choose one thing you've been trying to control that isn't actually yours to control. Write it down. Then write, I release this to focus on what I can influence. That burning sensation in your muscles during a workout, the anxiety you feel before a difficult conversation, the boredom of doing necessary but mundane tasks. Most people run from these feelings, but what if I told you that your relationship with discomfort determines your entire future? Marcus Aurelius deliberately chose the harder path, not because he was a masochist, but because he understood something profound. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher, disguised as an unwelcome visitor. Think about every meaningful achievement in your life. Learning to walk involved countless falls. Developing skills required frustrating practice sessions. Building relationships meant navigating awkward conversations. Your brain was literally rewiring itself through discomfort, creating new neural pathways that would serve you for life. Yet, somewhere along the way, our culture convinced us that comfort is the goal. We've created a world of instant gratification where the slightest inconvenience sends us reaching for our phones, snacks, or any distraction that promises immediate relief. This comfort-seeking behavior is the silent killer of discipline. Research in neuroplasticity shows that growth only occurs when we push beyond our comfort zones. Dr. Anders Ericsson's studies on deliberate practice revealed that experts in any field consistently train at the edge of their abilities, embracing the discomfort of not knowing, not succeeding, not being perfect. Your discomfort isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature. It's your body and mind's way of saying, we're growing, we're adapting, we're becoming stronger. When you start viewing discomfort as feedback rather than failure, you transform from someone who avoids challenges to someone who seeks them. Choose one small discomfort you've been avoiding. Cold showers, difficult conversations, early morning workouts. Commit to it for just 3 days. You've probably tried morning routines before. The perfect schedule: wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, journal, exercise, eat a perfect breakfast. Then life happened. You hit snooze once and suddenly your entire day felt ruined. You abandoned the routine and told yourself, I'll start again Monday. But Marcus Aurelius had a different approach. Each morning, he didn't just follow a checklist, he set intentions. He would remind himself, today I will meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. He wasn't being pessimistic, he was being prepared. The difference between routines and intentions is profound. Routines are external structures that can be broken by circumstances. Intentions are internal commitments that adapt to reality while maintaining their core purpose. When your alarm doesn't go off, you can still practice intention. When you're traveling, you can still practice intention. When life gets chaotic, your intentions become your anchor. Think about yesterday morning. Did you wake up reactive or responsive? Did you grab your phone immediately, letting the world's chaos flood your mind before you'd even decided who you wanted to be that day? Or did you take a moment to consciously choose your approach to the hours ahead? Neuroscience research shows that the first hour of our day sets the tone for our entire neural activity. Dr. Andrew Huberman's studies on circadian rhythms reveal that morning light exposure and intentional thought patterns literally program our brain's operating system for the next 16 hours. But here's what most people miss. Your morning intention doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. It's not about having 2 hours of elaborate self-care. It's about taking 60 seconds to ask yourself, who do I choose to be today? How do I want to respond to challenges? What energy do I want to bring to my interactions? Start tomorrow with this simple practice. Before checking your phone, ask yourself these 3 questions. Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a voice in your head commenting on everything. It's judging whether you agree with what I'm saying, wondering if this will actually work for you, maybe even criticizing you for needing this advice in the first place. That voice, your internal dialogue, is either your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Marcus Aurelius understood this intimately. His meditations weren't written for publication, they were his private conversations with himself, his attempts to reshape his own thinking. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Most people's internal dialogue sounds like their worst critic, their most anxious friend, and their most pessimistic relative, all rolled into one. You always mess this up. Why even try? You're not disciplined enough. Everyone else has it figured out except you. This isn't self-awareness, it's self-sabotage. But here's what changes everything. You can choose your internal voice. Cognitive behavioral therapy research shows that our thoughts directly influence our emotions, which drive our behaviors. When Dr. Aaron Beck developed these principles, he discovered that changing thought patterns literally changes brain chemistry. Your internal dialogue about discipline reveals everything. Do you speak to yourself like a supportive coach or a harsh judge? When you make a mistake, do you say, "I'm learning," or "I'm stupid"? When you face a challenge, do you think, "This is hard," or "This is impossible"? Start listening to your thoughts about yourself with the same attention you'd give to how a friend talks to your child. Would you let someone speak to a person you love the way you speak to yourself? If not, it's time to fire that voice and hire a new one. Tonight, catch yourself in negative self-talk and immediately rephrase it with compassion. You've set the goal before. I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to read 50 books this year. I'm going to save $10,000. You felt excited, motivated, ready to change your life. 3 weeks later, that motivation was gone and you were back to your old patterns, wondering why you lack willpower. But Marcus Aurelius never wrote, "I will be the perfect emperor." Instead, he focused on daily practices. What we do now echoes in eternity. He understood that extraordinary results come from ordinary actions repeated consistently, not from dramatic gestures or perfect performances. The problem with goals is that they're destinations, but life is a journey. Goals imply an endpoint, a moment when you'll finally be done with growth. Systems, however, are about who you're becoming through daily choices. Goals are about outcomes you want. Systems are about processes you trust. Think about someone you admire who has incredible discipline. They're not more motivated than you. They've built better systems. They don't rely on feeling like working out. They have a system that makes working out inevitable. They don't depend on inspiration to write. They have a system that creates writing momentum. James Clear's research on atomic habits shows that we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. If you want to read more, the goal read 50 books is less effective than the system read for 20 minutes before breakfast. The system focuses on the process, not the outcome. Your systems should be so simple they feel almost silly. Read one page, do one push-up, write one sentence. The magic isn't in the size of the action, it's in the certainty of repetition. Small actions, repeated consistently, create massive transformation over time. Design one simple system today that moves you toward who you want to become. Your mind is rarely where your body is. Right now, while watching this video, part of you might be thinking about tomorrow's meeting, replaying an argument from last week, or fantasizing about future success. This mental time travel is stealing your power and destroying your discipline. Marcus Aurelius, governing an empire that stretched across continents, constantly reminded himself, confine yourself to the present. He knew that the present moment is the only place where discipline actually exists. You can't be disciplined in the past, it's already gone. You can't be disciplined in the future, it doesn't exist yet. Discipline only happens now. Think about your last moment of procrastination. Were you fully present when you chose to scroll social media instead of working on your project? Or was your mind somewhere else, avoiding the discomfort of the task, fantasizing about having it completed or dwelling on how much you dislike the work? Procrastination isn't a time management problem, it's a presence problem. When you're truly present, making disciplined choices becomes natural. The future consequences feel real because you're not detached from them. The immediate discomfort of discipline feels manageable because you're not amplifying it with mental resistance. The satisfaction of aligned action feels profound because you're actually there to experience it. Mindfulness research by Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn shows that present moment awareness literally changes brain structure. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making and impulse control, strengthens with mindfulness practice. Meanwhile, the amygdala, responsible for fear and reactive behavior, actually shrinks. But presence isn't about meditation retreats or hour-long breathing exercises. It's about catching your mind when it wanders and gently bringing it back to now. It's about feeling your feet on the ground while washing dishes. It's about tasting your food instead of eating while distracted. It's about listening to people instead of planning your response. Your phone buzzes with a notification. In that split second, before you reach for it, there's a choice. That choice exists only in the present moment. When you master present moment awareness, you start catching these micro moments of decision and making them consciously instead of automatically. Practice this. Set 3 random alarms tomorrow. When they go off, simply notice where your mind is. The traffic jam that makes you late, the difficult colleague who challenges every idea, the financial setback that forces you to reconsider your plans, the injury that disrupts your fitness routine. Most people see these as problems to be solved or avoided. Marcus Aurelius saw them as curriculum. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These aren't just beautiful words, they're a complete philosophy of resilience. Every obstacle you face is life's way of asking, how badly do you want to grow? What are you willing to become to overcome this? Remember your greatest personal growth period. Was it during your easiest time or your most challenging? Was it when everything went according to plan? Or when life completely disrupted your expectations? Obstacles aren't interruptions to your development. They are your development. But here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Instead of, how do I avoid this? Ask, how do I use this? This isn't positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. Research in post-traumatic growth shows that people who faced significant challenges often report higher levels of life satisfaction, deeper relationships, and stronger sense of purpose than those who've had easier paths. Dr. Richard Tedeschi's studies reveal that obstacles, when approached correctly, literally expand our capacity for joy, meaning, and resilience. Your current biggest obstacle, whether it's a difficult relationship, financial pressure, health challenge, or career setback, is not a punishment. It's a personalized training program designed to develop exactly the skills you need for your next level of growth. The universe isn't testing your breaking point. It's revealing your infinite capacity for adaptation. Every Navy SEAL knows that training is harder than the actual mission. Life works the same way. The obstacles you face today are preparing you for opportunities you can't even imagine yet. When you stop resisting your training and start embracing it, you transform from victim to athlete. Tonight, identify your current biggest challenge and write down 3 skills it's forcing you to develop. Once a month, Marcus Aurelius would deliberately sleep on the floor instead of his luxurious bed. He would eat simple bread instead of imperial feasts. The most powerful man in the world voluntarily chose discomfort, not because he was punishing himself, but because he was training himself. You live in unprecedented comfort. Climate control, food delivery, entertainment on demand, instant communication. This comfort is a gift, but it's also a trap. When you're never uncomfortable, you lose your capacity to handle discomfort. When challenges arise, and they will, you're unprepared. Think about how you react to minor inconveniences. The Wi-Fi goes out, and you feel anxious. The restaurant gets your order wrong, and you're irritated. Your phone battery dies, and you feel disconnected from reality. These reactions reveal how dependent you've become on comfort and how fragile that dependence makes you. But what if you deliberately practice small discomforts to build your resilience? What if you occasionally took cold showers, fasted for a day, walked instead of driving, or sat in silence instead of reaching for entertainment? These practices aren't about suffering. They're about strength training for your character. Navy SEALs call this stress inoculation training. By voluntarily exposing themselves to controlled stress, they build the mental and physical resilience needed for real emergencies. Stoics understood this principle 2,000 years before modern psychology proved it. Dr. Wim Hof's research on cold exposure shows that voluntary discomfort literally rewires your nervous system. It strengthens your parasympathetic response, improves your ability to handle stress, and increases your confidence in your own resilience. When you prove to yourself that you can handle chosen discomfort, you trust yourself to handle unexpected challenges. Your voluntary discomfort practice doesn't need to be extreme. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Leave your phone in another room for an hour. Eat one meal in complete silence. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Say no to something you want but don't need. Each small act of voluntary discomfort is a deposit in your resilience bank account. When life demands strength from you, you'll have reserves to draw from. Choose one small discomfort to practice this week. Marcus Aurelius didn't just follow Stoicism blindly, he personalized it. His meditations show a man wrestling with ideas, adapting principles to his unique circumstances, creating his own philosophical framework for living. He understood that discipline without philosophy is just rigidity, but philosophy without discipline is just intellectualization. Your personal philosophy is your North Star. It's not what you believe intellectually, it's what you actually live by when no one is watching. It's the principles that guide your decisions when emotions run high, when peer pressure mounts, when shortcuts seem attractive. Look at your recent decisions. What philosophy were you actually following? Not what you say you believe, but what your actions reveal you believe. If someone studied your last week of choices, what would they conclude are your core values? This gap between stated beliefs and lived beliefs is where most people lose their way. Creating your personal philosophy means getting brutally honest about what you actually value versus what you think you should value. It means identifying the principles that, when followed, make you proud of yourself. It means clarifying what you're willing to sacrifice for, what you're willing to stand up for, and what you're willing to walk away from. Dr. Viktor Frankl's research with Holocaust survivors revealed that people with clear personal philosophies, a sense of meaning and purpose, were more likely to survive extreme circumstances. Your philosophy isn't just academic, it's survival equipment for life's inevitable challenges. Your philosophy should be simple enough to remember under pressure, but comprehensive enough to guide complex decisions. Marcus Aurelius kept his core principles to just a few essential ideas. Focus on what you control, serve the common good, accept what happens, choose your responses consciously. What are yours? Not what sounds impressive, but what actually works for how you want to live. Write them down, make them simple, make them yours. Then, and this is crucial, live them every single day, especially when it's inconvenient. Your personal philosophy is your most powerful tool for discipline because it transforms "I have to" into "I choose to." You've just experienced something profound. These 9 Stoic principles aren't just concepts, they're invitations to a completely different way of being. Tonight, you have a choice. You can let this video become another piece of interesting content you consumed, or you can let it become the moment everything changed. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words for himself, never imagining they would guide millions of people across centuries. But here we are, proof that timeless principles create timeless transformation. Your struggle with discipline isn't a personal failing, it's a universal human challenge that can be overcome with the right tools. Start with just one principle. Choose the one that resonated most deeply, that made you think, I need this. Practice it for 7 days. Then add another. Your disciplined future self is already waiting. These principles are simply the bridge to meet them. If this video changed something in you, smash that like button. Share it with someone who needs this message. Drop your chosen affirmation in the comments and subscribe for more life-changing content. Your transformation starts now.